Today's video is sponsored by BetterHelp.com, and I've been with them for a long time. BetterHelp is an online platform where we found that you can effectively communicate with your therapist. Now, you begin by filling out a questionnaire, and then you'll be matched with a therapist within a couple of days. And if that match isn't ideal for you, you can certainly make an adjustment there. Now, you're going to be encouraged to journal, and also they have the availability for group therapy on a wide array of topics, and I really like that. So as the need exists, go ahead and take the necessary steps to get the help that you need. And just know that BetterHelp has a 4.5 rating on Trustpilot, so it indeed is a platform you can trust. There's a link below the video that will take you there.
In my therapy office, it was not at all uncommon for me to have some pretty painful discussions with individuals who are on the backside of a relationship with a strongly narcissistic person. Now, it could be that this individual that I might be talking with was born into a family system that was dominated by narcissism, and they're trying to figure out how to extricate themselves from the many influences that have come because of that. Sometimes they married into a narcissistic system, or perhaps the extended family beyond the person they married winds up having many narcissistic characteristics. Sometimes it's part of an organization that these people are getting away from, or a social group, or a work setting. Any way you look at it, when you get to the point to where you realize, I don't think like these people and they don't think like me, and you know that the relationship is on its way to an end, there can be a very high cost that is associated with it. Sometimes the narcissist is the one who says, get out of here and I don't want to deal with you. Sometimes it's you who makes the decision, but either way, it can be very painful. Part of the pain comes in realizing that there are so many extras that are attached to the getting away from the narcissist. And by that I mean the narcissist is going to lie, and I didn't say they might. They're going to lie about you to other individuals, and so they make it their job to smear you to key people in your life. Sometimes those key people are folks that you really want to have a strong, ongoing, loving relationship with, but that person is caught up in a divided kind of loyalty, the narcissist versus you, and they're put into a huge bind. Sometimes money can become problematic because of you getting away from that narcissist. Other times, family members or friends may turn on you because they don't understand and know the fullness of what you've been through. They make snap judgments that are not very well informed. Sometimes you can feel isolated and lonely because the narcissist can be a part of a system that no longer is going to include you. Now, as a therapist, when I would talk with individuals about their responses, we would zero in on various solutions that they can have. We'd talk about building internal character. We'd talk about how there's a shift of mindset that needs to be put into place. And we also talk about how you need to have different external scenery, if you will. But then we get into the place where there's this the ultimate double blind. The double blind is, well, if I do get away from the narcissist entirely, there's a huge cost. But then if I decide, well, maybe I'll try to make my adjustments and stay inside the relationship where the narcissist remains, there's a huge cost. That's what I mean when I say this is such a burdensome kind of thing. Now, one of the biggest pains that I have when I'm talking with individuals about the cost associated with breaking away from a narcissist is the collateral damage. Many times people will say something like, well, if I'm breaking away from the narcissist, I may not ever see my grandchildren again. Or my daughter-in-law has turned my own son against me, and it's completely unfair. There's nothing about it that's ever going to feel good. Or it may be that you'll say, well, my elderly father is very ill, and my elderly mother is so mean, I have to go through her to get to him, and nothing about that feels good or makes any sense. It's a no-win situation. Or some people might say, oh, well, I'll lose my job if I break away from the narcissist. Or some will say, well, if I break away from the narcissist, I'm going to be blackballed in social circumstances. Now, there are various ways that narcissists can make sure that you are going to pay a high price. And again, I know that I'm talking about something very difficult, but let's make sure that we educate ourselves about where that narcissist is coming from. Keep in mind, first and foremost, when you go no contact or low contact, whether it's initiated by you or by the narcissist is going to absolutely insist on calling the shots. They have to be in control, and that includes not just controlling you, but other individuals' opinions about you. And that's part of the damage that you're going to need to factor in. Keep in mind also, another realization is conflict will bring out the absolute worst in a narcissist, and you're going to see it when it happens.
Now, like I say, you're not going to be able to change a character disorder in somebody who's just fixed on these kind of characteristics. But I want you to kind of get an idea of what are you dealing with here? Who is this person who's treating you in this way? What kind of qualities do they have that you need to be aware of and just be honest about? Now, there are multiple ingredients that set the narcissist and their relationships up to fail that these people carry into the relationship with you. Let's run through some of those. First, let's keep in mind when you are engaging with a narcissist, you're also engaging with someone who is wearing a mask. Do you understand that? That person is not in touch with his or her real self. They have a shadow self underneath. That's all a part of them that they don't want to look at. Their fears and their hurt and their pain and their anger and all of their disillusionment. They don't want to do that. They want to try to present an image that says, I'm good, I'm okay. And when you have someone who's wearing a mask like that, they're not going to get very far at all in terms of any kind of growth. If by chance the mask does come off, because sometimes you may see something that they know that you know, or it may be that in a moment of, let's say, weakness, that's what they'll call it, or perhaps vulnerability, they may share something with you. If the mask does come off, they're going to put that mask right back on because it scares them to death. Your desire to get on the inside with them and have a form of intimacy or closeness and honesty and vulnerability is something that they run from. They cannot deal with it. Now, we're going to go a little bit further and we're going to say that you're dealing with emotionally needy individual, but their emotional neediness is typically displayed via messages of control. The reason they're so bossy and so forceful and so insistent, it's their way of saying, you need to make me feel better. You mean to make me look good. You need to validate me. You need to affirm me. But that's their neediness. It comes out as control. But these are people who are pathologically insecure. These individuals, because of their unwillingness to examine themselves, are dedicated, if you will, to manipulations. They'll ask you cornering questions. They'll put guilt trips on you. They'll openly express, doubt about your way of thinking. Where'd you come up with an idea like this? Anything that they can do to gaslight you and make you feel doubt about who you are, it's a go-to technique, if you will, that they'll just very predictably utilize. Likewise, these people, their reasoning easily collapses. And when I say their reasoning collapses, you'll notice that if you say something that makes sense, like you seem to be very upset with me, or this doesn't really make sense, or this is not what you told me yesterday, they'll drop the reasoning and they'll go straight into raw emotion. Because they fear, well, actually it's a subconscious thing by now, but they know that when they go into raw emotion, that just takes the focus off of reason and logic. And so they can get upset or anxious or anxiety ridden and put guilt trips on you. And that's one of their games that they play. Let's play the emotional game so that we don't have to look at the truth. In addition, they don't just have anger issues. I mean, yes, they do. They're completely inept when it comes to managing anger. And anger is an emotion that, if it's managed correctly, can cause us to sit down and say, I want to assert my needs with you and you can do the same with me. Let's get it out there. Let's be honest with each other so that we can have healing. But their anger is not only not healing, it almost inevitably becomes destructive. And the more episodes you have, it just whittles away at the integrity of the relationship. Narcissists lack an us mentality. You've heard it said that narcissism is partially defined by a lack of empathy, and it's so on display the longer you're with them. They don't want to know who you are because that implies that they would consider you an equal. That implies an emotional heart connection. They don't want to do that because they consider that giving up their power, and B, they don't know how to do it in the first place because it's something that it's a skill they've never learned. They don't care to learn. They're too entitled to worry about what you're thinking. It's just all about me. And then you're also dealing with individuals who operate with what I call psychological laziness. They don't want to take time to think things through. Many of them hardly even have the ability to think analytically, but even if they do, it's like, nah, that's for you, that's not for me. And then, of course, as I mentioned in the questions, they have an incredibly low regard for personal boundaries. It's all about me intruding on you, and I don't care what I have to do. I'm getting in your space, and I'm running the show. It's frustrating, isn't it? Because you want to be free, you want to be your own person, and this narcissist says, no, you be what I tell you to be. So there comes a time when you ask that question, is it just time for me to disconnect? That I'm going to see if we can figure out, what that means. Some of you just need to completely get away and never see that person again. Sometimes it's not possible because of extraneous circumstances. But let's take a look at what this disconnect might require. Now, the first thing that I would teach my patients when I would be in my therapy office with them is you want to start with what I call a mind over emotion mindset. On the emotional side, you can ask, what am I feeling and what do I wish for and what is my desire? But then when we say mind over emotion, there comes a point where you just say, what do the hard facts tell me? Not what do I feel, what do I wish for, what do the hard facts tell me? Then as you detach, you also want to remind yourself that you just need to go ahead and cease the attempt to try to make the narcissist understand and know you. They don't care about you. They don't care about your opinions. They don't care about your values. Drop it. It's not going to matter. That's part of your disconnect.
I want you to begin thinking, what is it that defines you? Well, there are a lot of things that go into the definition of you. Your beliefs, your preferences, your emotional responses, hobbies, interests, your connections with people away, even your profession. And there are times when the narcissist can so come along and say, I don't like any of that. I think you're stupid. I think your emotions are terrible. Your beliefs don't make sense. Why would you have the preferences that you have? I don't want to connect with your connections. And they kind of give you the impression that says being you is just not reasonable. You're not reasonable. I don't think there's anything redeemable about you. When you hear those kind of messages long enough, do you find yourself thinking, I feel like a shell of a person now because whenever I try to assert my me-ness, it just gets shot down. That's what I mean when I say killing your spirit. There are times when that has been such a persistent ingredient in your relationship with a narcissist that you can conclude it's time to do something very different. A second ingredient that says it may be time to move on, and that is when there's ongoing isolation or alienation. There are times when the narcissist is going to make it very uncomfortable for you to engage with the people that you know and love best. As an example, I spoke with one woman whose husband was so harsh and caustic toward her family of origin that she said, it's been 11 years since my brother or my sister have come to my house, because they knew they weren't welcome here. And they lived within about a 2-mile radius of each other. And I thought, 11 years and your own adult siblings won't come because they've been alienated by this highly controlling narcissistic husband. That's an example of what I'm talking about. Now, narcissists can many times make it very difficult for you to maintain, perhaps like in this person's case, family ties, or they don't want you to be around certain friendships or favorite activities. One of the primary characteristics of narcissistic abuse is they try to take you to a place of isolation. When that's something that's very ongoing, you know you're at a bad place. A third indicator of needing to leave is what I would just put under the category of constant haranguing. Many times narcissists will have such a deep history of ridiculing you, or harassing you, or mocking you, or saying harsh and critical words toward you. They dislike your interests, and they make fun of your interests, and they make fun of your family and friends. Oh, you think you're so special, and just lots of sarcasm. Are you on the receiving end of haranguing communication? That implies a high level of disdain and superiority that the narcissist feels toward you. A fourth indicator, and this kind of goes along with number 3, but takes it to a little bit of a different level, and that's the ingredient of contempt. Many times when you've been in the presence of a narcissist, you realize they don't just disagree with you, and they don't just dislike some of the things that you prefer. They have a sense of disgust toward you. It takes that sense of condescension, and it holds you in such a low regard that you almost wonder, do you hate me? Do you have that much disdain for me? And basically, through contempt, a narcissist may be implying, you are so beneath me. When that's an ongoing, persistent ingredient, it could be time for you to be saying, sayonara, I've got to keep moving on. This isn't working. A fifth indicator that it may be time to move on is what I refer to as divided loyalties. Now, obviously, when you're in a relationship with a narcissist, one of the things you want is to have a feeling of connectedness and loyalty and shared responsibility, whatever the relationship may imply. But then you realize the narcissist doesn't share the same loyalties. It may be that that person is loyal to their alcohol, and that's all they really care about. Or I've had, in this day and age in particular, people come in and say, well, my partner's constantly upstairs playing video games till 3 o'clock in the morning, and we hardly do anything, and they've got a loyalty towards the groups that they play with online, but not to me. Or it could be that there's an extramarital affair, and obviously that's going to be something that's going to be very difficult. They can have codependent attachments to other individuals that supersede their attachment to you. As an example, I've had a situation where, or many situations, let's say the wife in a marriage is so tied to mother that mother dictates everything, and so there's a divided loyalty there, and it breaks into the marital situation. Or a person can have a commitment to their work environment or the people that are there, to the extent that other relationships suffer because of that. Divided loyalties can be a part of it. As you learn about the narcissistic pattern, it's also wise to reflect on the much healthier alternatives. Now, below you're going to find a link to my new extensive course called Ready, Set, Connect. It addresses both the mindset and the skills involved in gratifying relationships, and I hope you'll find it to be quite therapeutic.